Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Point 99 podcast, a running podcast dreamed up by runners for runners. If you're new to running, we hope to have topics and discussions that will help you along whatever path your journey is taking. Or for any seasoned runners listening, maybe some stories that will have you empathizing with our experiences and predicaments. Whether it's lessons we've learned during our journeys, embarrassing stories, or heartstring pulling moments, we hope you'll stick with us and hopefully have a laugh along the way, sharing good vibes, motivation and positivity as we go. But it's not only this, Steve, here to keep you company during your long runs. It's also our hairy-faced southern friend and my partner in crime, runnerman Steve.
Hairy-faced! Oh, brilliant. That was not warned. Hello.
How are we doing? How are we doing?
Well, apart from an absolute rasper of a cold / I don't know what it is I've got going on, I'm okay. Last week, I know we'll touch on the marathon training a little bit after, but yeah, I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I felt like a tin man last week, but I'm feeling a bit more alive. Just need to get rid of this.
You feel like the Tin Man, but you look more like the Lion.
Well, hybrid training. Right? Half tin, half lion. There we go.
It's been a busy week though for you for running, because you've obviously getting ever closer to London. You were just saying before recording, you're 32 days away.
32 days. I was reminded of that from the dashboard, the London Marathon's dashboard, because I had a little moment, or as you would say, a wee moment of. Do you know what I blame that? By the way, I've been using Scottish words in everyday conversation, and I blame you and Ryan. Okay,
that's bra though. That's bra. You got to do that.
Right. I was like, I'm just using the Scottish words, and I was like, what are you on about? I go, oh yeah, I'm not talking to Scots here. No. So I blame you two. No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, last week, the heaviest week of the plan. It was the third consecutive 40+ miler of the plan. So yeah, it's we've got one more big week next week, then it's taper time. I cannot wait for taper time.
That'll be good. It's also the time that the potential for paranoia comes in, though, doesn't it? Because you're so used to your heavy weeks, and you're looking forward to heavy week because you almost forget that you've got an event coming up and you've got to recover.
Yeah, and it's I feel like Jack Skeleton during taper time. Like you just get a slight twinge, like, what's this? What's this? I'm like, oh my god, this is awful. I remember having a conversation actually before London last time around with Craig the runner, and we are both as bad as each other with paranoia. Everything is basically going to stop us from running the event. Now, sadly, something has stopped him from running the event because he had a truly horrendous ordeal, and he's getting better from that. But yeah, in general, the paranoia is awful. I'd rather go run some more miles.
Yeah, and it's so easy though to get in your own head. Not just the whole paranoia of are you going to pull muscle before it. Yeah, you're always touching wood to make sure that's not going to happen. But you can get in your own head so easy that you just think you're not prepared. Yeah. But no, that'll be interesting as we get closer. And obviously, we'll have an episode before the marathon, and then I'm thinking it's going to be straddled, isn't it? It's going to be our week off that you have the marathon.
Yes. Steve does the admin, guys. Nice. No, I think so. I mean, it would be advantageous if it was the week that the marathon week was the week where we don't do a pod, because I don't know where my head's going to be. Actually, it could be chaos. It might be better. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a conversation afterwards. Maybe we'll chuck in a bonus one. See how I'm feeling.
Well, that's it. I was going to say, because we've got this episode is out on the 24th, this Friday, because we're recording it in advance. Then we've got our next episode will be the 7th of April. And then the one after is the 21st of April.
Marathon week.
So marathon's is it the 23rd?
23rd. Yeah.
Whoa. So that's maybe a good position. Although you're gonna be busy in your head. You're not gonna be busy with miles because of the taper. So that's
Yeah.
maybe quite a good one to see how you're feeling on that first week. And you're actually saying that's quite good anyway yourself. There's something similar because Ryan from the Press Play and Run podcast will be running the Edinburgh Marathon, and I'm not entirely sure that that's not that far away, but I'm pretty sure it's after London. I believe it's in May. Um, we have had a discussion with him as to what he's going to do on the run up to his marathon. And we're thinking we may do a little bit of a crossover podcast where we get him on and we talk to him before the marathon, find out how he's feeling, and then potentially do a follow-up episode where we find out how his actual event went. And it gives him a bit of a rest. He's going to have his own episodes as well to do. But it gives him a bit of a rest, and he can come talk to us. And having run that marathon myself, I know the route and I know what he's going to be going through, so it'll be quite good. But then he's also spoken to Bob Burrell, who's run it as well, and he's an ambassador for the Edinburgh Marathon, so he knows people that have done it. So he's in a good community where he has people there to speak to. But at the same time, it'll be quite nice to get him on the show and speak about his events. But yeah, we're getting to that point where we're going to really have to scare the bejesus out of you before you're at your marathon.
Do you know what? I'm actually feeling incredibly calm, and I think it's because I've done it. If that makes sense, I know what to expect. I've purposely not ran any of the route of London this time around. I've done it all away from it. When the day comes, it'll be the first time I've run in the city of London and Greenwich and whatever since Marathon Day last year. I've made a proper effort to not make it every day normal.
Yeah, because you never made the ballot for the half, did you? The London Landmark half.
I'm so gutted about that. But in a way, it might have been a good thing. So I've not had to. Yes and no, because I would have liked a nice tune-up half marathon. Couldn't really find one. Well, there was one we've run through at Hampton Court, which is this Sunday. But I was informed there's parts of that route that is rough terrain, and I didn't want to risk rolling an ankle sort of so close to the marathon. So it'll be my luck to do that. So I'm going to find a nice sort of couple mile loop and try and just blast that half marathon around it in the vapors. Give them a proper christening.
It might be worth checking the ABC. Is it the ABC calendar for running? There may be something locally for you at least. That you can fit in between, but yeah, it would be nice to have a little event that doesn't have rough terrain, because that would be devastating. That would be absolutely devastating for you.
I think I don't know what I'd do if I got so close and that happened. I'd be livid.
Yeah. The second marathon, you say with your nerves, second marathon. And it's not the same for everyone, I suppose, but I went in feeling, like you say, more relaxed because you know what's coming. You almost go in with that sense of, should I actually be this relaxed? And you feel like you might actually be a little bit too egotistical with it, but it is really relaxing going into it and having that confidence. Your nerves are just so chill.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like I've mentioned before, but this training block's gone so much better than the last one. I mean, mentally, I'm in a much better place than I was during the first one. And I've also I've done those long runs. I've done the 17s, 18s, 20s, 18s. You name it, I've done it. Last week didn't go as to plan because my daughter played up a little bit, so I went back home. But then the next day I said, no, I'm doing the rest of 7 miles. So over the 2 days, I've got 22 done consecutive. I've done 17, 18s and 20s with ease. So the confidence boost is there.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. For myself though, you've been training hard for your marathon. I've been out and I've been scoring some PBs, albeit a couple of weeks ago now. It was after we had the discussion in the last episode about the 5K.
I know what you're going to say.
Oh,
And Emma
no,
would
I
kill
know.
you.
Yep. The 5K PB, we said in the last episode that we would set a date and we would go to try and hammer it out. And me being me, I didn't go out now. For anyone that from the last episode, that someone going out not aiming for a PB and getting one, it annoys them. I didn't head out not trying to get a PB and get it. I did, but I didn't. I went out and my pace on the first kilometer was good. I had a really good pace. So I changed the plan and then I was going for a PB. So the first run I did, I hammered out a 10 kilometer PB and I beat it by I'm sure it was a good 2 minutes. My 10K PB wasn't, for me, it wasn't amazing. And my watch had been telling me for a long time I could get so much faster. So I put on the new Hawkers and I absolutely went hell for leather. And I got like a 2 minute, it was over 2 minutes off my 10K PB. And that was phenomenal. And I was so delighted that I decided a couple of days later I would go out again and I would try a 5K PB. Same thing happened again, though. I wasn't 100% sure, so I thought I'll give it the first kilometer. I gave it the first kilometer and I was giving it good licks, so I thought, well, let's go. And I get to the 4 kilometer mark, looking really good, but I'm going to have to because I have to up the gear here, going to have to put the foot down. And I come to the 5 kilometer, I stop my watch, I pass out, I'm lying on the deck, and my watch tells me I have got a PB, but I'm 2 seconds off getting the sub 22 that I was aiming for. I was ripping. I sent Steve, because he knows about this, because I sent him lots of voice notes on Instagram, and they were quite expletive filled. I was very emotional about that one. But I did mention it to Steve. I haven't told him the full story. I also had a sinking feeling when I finished that one, because yes, I'd gone out. I hadn't originally planned to get a PB, but then I decided I was going to change my plan. I get a PB. I'm 2 seconds off my target time, but I'm lying on the deck and this car pulls up. It's like quite a rural area. Car pulls up. Are you okay? And no, I'm fine. I've just run a personal best. I'm fine. I'm just tired. And he drives off, no problem, and he goes around. Next thing I know, a police car comes flying down the road, and I'm like, oh no, someone's seen a runner passed out on the floor and thought, that's someone in need of help, and phoned the police. And then another one appeared, and I was gone by this point. I was back running, and I had that sinking feel. Thankfully, we've got a massive port in the next 10 along, and it was one of these cranes coming in ready to do some port work. I had that sinking feeling. I wanted the ground to swallow me up because I thought someone had phoned an ambulance and police on me. Oh, I was mortified, but at the same time, I was trying to get over my emotions while sending Steve voice messages because I was ripping. I was so annoyed, so.
It was like joy, anger, sorrow, upset, everything in one go. Embarrassment. I was like, so many emotions.
It was one of those ones where I hadn't got it on my program that week, but since coming back from holiday, my fitness and just running generally has felt so much easier. Just having a nice break, and to the point where that was a week of PBs. I got a PB in the 5K, as I say, and the 10K. I also got a PB in the half marathon, which was on the Sunday of that week. And I hadn't been feeling great come the Friday, Saturday, and I've been testing. Because of all the flights, I've been testing to make sure that I didn't have my first dose of the virus, of corona. And all clear, negative, that was fine. So run day came on the Sunday. The Loch Ness, no, it wasn't Loch Ness, it was the Inverness half marathon. And I didn't feel great, but I thought, no, I'm still going to go. I'll just take my mask when I'm inside, and I'll wear my mask. I had my kilt on and my vest top. And then the heavens open. So we're on the start line. I'm absolutely drenched already. But the good thing was I bumped into some people that we got talking to last year at the Loch Ness 24. it was great to touch base with them. I saw quite a few other Instagrammers, and it was lovely to see them and get the chat. But then the race started. The pace was great. I got around. It was raining the whole way around in the kill, and I got a PB again. And it was a week of PBs in all my main disciplines. But I was absolutely, I'm trying to think of a polite way to say this. I was shattered by the end. Let's say it was shattered. And it turned out when I got home, I did have corona. So not only did I run a half marathon for a PB, I did it in the rain, wearing a kilt, and with corona. So it wasn't the best end to the week. So I haven't been running much. I've had a week off. I literally had a week off and a week off. But I'm back at it now. I had a great run yesterday. Phenomenal getting a flying lap back out. Not the same pace as my 5K, but it was lovely to get back out again. It's just amazing how much it helps your head and your thoughts, and how much being stuck at home can really melt your head.
Yeah, sometimes it's also a forced break, one that you can't do anything about.
Yeah,
often the best one.
And you're
the best one.
Same with what you've got with your cold, or your cold type effect on your throat. You don't want to make it worse and then put yourself off for even longer.
Yeah, I've sort of playing it by how I feel. So obviously you only know your body and what you can do to it. And last block of training, I would have been like, oh, it's only one run. I can miss that. It's fine. I won't lose anything. But now I've got the mindset of, no, you won't lose anything, but you're not going to gain. So can you get out and do anything? Like, not junk miles, but if you can't do the fast one, can you make it a nice, easy effort? Because it helps your recovery, helps your time on your feet. So it's just trying to work out what's best for you. And sometimes, you say, this cold is too much for me. I can't deal with it. I'm not going to do it. So I didn't do yesterday's run. I was in the gym today, no issues doing all the deadlifts and the walking lunges and whatnot. So yeah, all systems go, really. Let's get tomorrow's run done, a rest day on Friday, and then I don't know what's on Saturday, maybe 11 miles, 8 or 11, something like that.
You definitely need to take more Scottish implements and have a nice hot toddy to work on that throat, though.
Mate, do you know what? I've not taken anything for it. I've just left it to get on with it. And hopefully it just goes away.
That's a proper man approach, isn't it? I've not had anything.
So I've not had anything. So one of my colleagues at work is like, what's wrong with your voice? I said, I've got that cold. He goes, yeah, whatever. You've grown a beard. You want the sexy husky voice. We know what you're doing, Steve. I'm like, I'm really not. This hurts to talk like this.
I'm glad he said that and not, oh, you've just hit puberty, Steve.
Yeah. 35 years old. I'm a late bloomer. Yeah.
So we've both had a bit of a roller coaster of illness, varying degrees, and also a good old time of running. Because so for me, I still got the relaxed. I can just do anything I want just now, as long as I'm looking after myself. I can do whatever I need to do just to appease myself. Whereas at least you've got a structure and you've got a target, and you kind of got to keep that flow and that motivation going just now.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of runs in the particularly last week. I just was not motivated to do it at all. I had zero motivation. I was like, oh, here we go again. But it's the consistency.
Yeah, consistency.
You do the fitness. So you say about the PB thing. I was planning, and hopefully I feel better.
Ah, yes. Now
do something on Saturday.
We mentioned this in the last podcast, didn't we? You were gonna go for a flyer at a park run, but yeah, do you want to elaborate on why that didn't happen?
It didn't happen purely because why didn't it happen? It's been a couple of weeks now. Can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. No, my daughter wasn't well. That's it. Sorry, my daughter wasn't. I'm glad you remember. Oh, these kids have so many colds. They're all the same. No, I was going to do so. I thought, yeah, Friday's my day off. I can have a nice, relaxing day, and then Saturday I can do the park run thing, and then Thursday my daughter was like just unwell, doesn't go to work, go to school on a Friday, so my day off is just blown out of the water. And then I thought, well, I'm just staying in bed until
Yeah.
about not well, 7, 8 when the mum gets up, go off on the do my run as it is. But yeah, I was going to try and blast it out. So I was going to try and do this weekend if I can make it work and if I feel
If you
that the
feel up
body
to it,
will.
yeah. Well, you've got to really, because you got to
Yeah,
listen to your body, like you've said already about your training. And I had a similar thing. It was the 200th park run for Allness on Saturday. And I had full intentions to go, but because I'm still recovering, I've still got the energy levels coming back up again. I just slept through it. I didn't get up until 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, so I missed that boat.
no. So I will be doing that. So my plan does say if I want to race a 5K, I can, but I need to do like a lengthy warm up and a warm down after. So I mean, it would fit in nicely if I could get maybe a 5K done before it, the 5K, and then a two warm down. So that
Yeah.
would have the plan is there, and I will take out the vapors for it just to give them a little test. My watch is telling me, not that it's a complete science, but it looks good. It tells me that my estimated time for a race predictor for 5K is 19:38.
Yeah. Now
Now,
get the alphas out for that.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how it's science in there. It also says my marathon could be 3:23:23. Um, I'm not going to try and gun for that, but I'll see what happens on the day.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
you've mentioned alphas, and that is something I actually got a wee note here about.
mate, I've got vapors. Did I say alphas?
So
I've
you,
got vapors.
so you got no, but see, I've got a wee note here. You got vapors.
Oh,
Sorry, we're talking about. You did mention alphas as well.
yeah,
During the Inverness half marathon, that was the start line thing. I was being that proper shoe pervert, and I
yeah.
was I was looking. I was seeing the Brooks. I was seeing the Hawkas. I was seeing the Sauconys. And then I was seeing all the alpha flies and the vapor flies. And the guy that I mentioned, that the couple that I met, they came second in the mixed doubles for the last year's Loch Ness 24. And here he is with his vapor flies on, and he was confident he was getting a PB because he had these on, and he had a great time. But we're talking about them, and he's like, "Oh, they're phenomenal. Haven't had any blisters." As soon as he mentioned that, he messaged me after the event to say that he got blisters from the half marathon because it was just soaking wet. And no matter how good your shoes are, if you've got that moisture level as well, it's never going to work out
Yeah.
that well.
No, but you know what? I've taken I think I've done about 15 to 20 miles in just to get a feel for them, and their energy return is an absolute joke. It's like it's not you can't just pop them on and think yeah I'm going to run really fast because you're a fast trainer. You can't put on Lionel Messi's boots and play like Lionel Messi. You've got to do the training. No, I mean no one can play like Leo Messi, but the comparison is you've got to put the work in, and they're just like an addition to the work you've done.
Yeah.
Um, but they are ridiculous. Honestly, they are ridiculous.
I did see a statistic. Was it it was a Tokyo Marathon actually? The winning shoes. It was there was a couple of Nikes in them in the top 10, but the Adidas and a serious number of Adidas shoes were in the mix as well.
Yeah, they're apparently really good. The Adios Pros and whatnot. Apparently, a
Yeah,
really really good trainer. I mean, as you mentioned about being a watching everyone's trainers going, oh, they've got this, oh, they've got that. I've done that in the car today. I was driving home from work, and there's a bloke running across. I went, oh, he's got Brooks.
it's
Like,
it's not
what
having a
have I
foot
become?
fetish. Anyone listening, we don't have foot. We don't. I certainly don't have a foot fetish. We are just being shoe perverts.
Yeah, and I even sit there, and I mean, I was watching the person in front of me running the other day, and I sort of use them as a pacer. You know, they was pacing me, but I was using them when I was breaking it down a little bit. And I was just watching how's their foot land? Are they pronating? How did they come back off again? How does their calf contract when they run? I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but you're seeing someone's calf, but you can't see your own, and yours are doing the exactly same as theirs are doing. Because I've mentioned that to my wife before. Oh, look at their legs. They're like, oh, when they're running, look at their legs. She goes, your legs look exactly the same. You just don't have eyes in the back of your head.
Yeah, I've got reverse cams on the. I should do what some of the Instagrammers do. Get the old 360 IQ and just pop it round there.
I was gonna say that's something for me to do, isn't it? Make my 360 camera a tail.
Yeah, just make it a tail. Just stick it around the belt and hold it up and see if it contracts, and get really upset when you see it doesn't contract. Yeah. You're right to me.
Oh. Right, so we actually didn't mention in the last podcast, but we were featured in the Herald of Scotland newspaper, thanks in a huge part to a fantastic author and writer who I think she follows both of us now, and she also follows the podcast. But her name is Susan Swarbrick, also known as Susan Swarbrick Dimmick on Instagram. So please go and give her a follow. She's a fellow runner. But she was so kind to not only include ourselves, but also the Press Play and Run podcast in an article titled Scotland's Best Outdoor Podcasts to Inspire Adventure. Now, we had only had a couple of episodes by the point that Susan reached out to contact us, and it was, actually, I tell you when it was. It was just as I went away on holiday. I was in the airport writing up the piece to go to her and double checking it, triple checking it, making sure that I had everything that needed to be in it. And yeah, it's phenomenal. It was so nice to have the notice fairly early on in our adventure. So she's been so kind as to give us a PDF copy. I actually got my brother while I was away to go and buy a copy of the newspaper because it is the Herald in Scotland. So unfortunately, I don't think Steve would be able to get his hands on a copy. But yeah, it was so nice. I don't know what you think about it, Steve, but yeah, I was very, very taken aback by the whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, us? You wanna put my one on? Oh, okay. Yeah. So then we messaged. Yeah, like I said, he was on the way to the or you was at the airport. He's like, I'll write something out later on. I was like, okay. Do you want anything from me? And he's like, I've written it. I was like, okay, no worries. And I think there was, for me, it was a simple excitement of it's a publication putting your thing that I've sat on a train many a time and said, oh, there's a little section, what to listen to, and you look at it and then I was like, okay, someone somewhere is going to sit and read that, whether it's on a train, bus, in a cafe or whatever, and go, oh, I'll read that, I'll listen to that, or so no, it's fantastic. And I was thinking to myself, maybe there's a bigger excitement, say, for yourself being Scottish,
Yeah, it is always nice to get the personal kind of reinforcement that what you're doing is reaching an audience, but then to have that audience extended into a national paper within your own country is just so great. And we can't thank Susan enough for including us.
Yeah.
But I did make a point of asking her at the time if Ryan had been included as well, and thankfully I think she'd already been in contact with Ryan first, and it's also so nice to see another podcast who are just a couple of weeks older than us, two early podcasts both getting involved and getting the notice, and that, well, certainly for speaking for the Press Play and tongue twister Press Play and Run podcast, to see them getting the recognition that they so gratefully deserve as well, because Ryan's fantastic. He's had phenomenal episodes so far, and long may that continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have felt like we've robbed him if
the guilt would have been insane. I would have had, that would have been hard to deal with.
Yeah, so no, and you know what? His podcast is great. Honestly, it's a staple part of my long run. And if if I'm up to date like I am now, you 1 week where you haven't got it, you're thinking, well, what's on? Myself to that point where that we had from Laura was like, can you make it weekly? It's part of my long run. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic. So he deserves it, and I saw that he's got a partnership with UFOS. So that's awesome.
Yes, he's got a few competitions. He's got a competition up as well with a partnership with one of the local runs that he's got in the area. And I think is it Cooper app, coaching app, because did they have Peter Cooper, I want to say his name was. I haven't listened to the episode yet, so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. I'm a few episodes behind because I wasn't running, so I haven't had the opportunity to catch up on my long run listens. But yeah, I think he's partnered with them as well, and he's got a discount code. So yeah, he's doing phenomenally.
I might use that because I've got nothing for post marathon when I just want to get them things off my feet.
Yes, yeah, it was, and it's nice to try other things as well because you've had your time with the app, and you know how your personal preference works at the moment. But then it'd be also nice to see does something else work as well, because you shouldn't really cut yourself off or shut yourself down from other opportunities around you.
Yeah, you should never close yourself off. Never say never.
Never say never. But that does, for mentioning earlier in the episode that we may have Ryan on before his adventure into Edinburgh Marathon land, and with our notice having been picked up by the Herald of Scotland, it does lead us into the kind of topic that we're being very, very kind of relaxed with today's episode, but we are going to talk about the future of the podcast and how we would like to develop it, and it kind of just flows in nicely from this section. So, like with a lot of the podcasts we listen to, the What the Fartlek podcast, the Press Play and Run podcast, and the 40 Runs, they have guests on, and ultimately that's the direction we would like to go. And we have already, certainly, I know Steve has started, and I've very much started reaching out to members of the community and also companies that we both use and asking the simple question, would you like to be involved in the podcast? And overwhelmingly, the answer has been yes. The people that we've been speaking to, and we'll mention some of them. There's no guarantees that we will have the time to get them all, but there are a number of individuals that we would like to get on, and they're keen to come on. But it's just getting the time to organise it and schedule it in, because we aren't weekly. As much as Laura would like us to be, we're not weekly yet. But we'll see. Our time, we both have other things on, but we may be able to slot in. We can't say we're not going to go weekly. At the moment, we're looking to stay fortnightly, just because it is a bit of a task to do the editing, to do the imagery, as the Kilsyth runner Bob Burrell had pointed out that I had made a mistake on my last upload.
I noticed that, but I didn't.
You didn't want me to feel bad, did you?
No, it was like someone messaged me going, "Really enjoyed the episode." He started talking about what's on it, and I was like, "That's his episode 1."
Yeah, it does say episode 1, and I wanted to take it down. My OCD I wanted to take it down and re-upload it, but it was beyond that point.
Yeah, it's been seen now.
Seen.
But I did feel cheeky for I can't say that because I didn't even do the graphic. I'm like, hey, Steve, you can't even do you done it properly.
In fairness, up until it was actually after we finished the last recording, Steve didn't have access to anything. I was just like, nah, I'll just do it all. You kind of take it easy, enjoy the marathon training. But he wasn't seeing the analytics of how the podcast was getting on, the downloads. Where now he has access to that. You also have access to the emails, don't you? So yes,
I do. I see you all. So if I see you, you live in a certain place and you've only logged in once, I know you've not listened to all of them, stop lying and log in and listen. No, I'm joking. It's crazy to see, a place like San Jose on now. Like, who in San Jose is listening to the Scottish and the English talking about running?
you can kind of judge from the comments and feedback we're getting. We can kind of judge who these people are, and it's great. It's great seeing it. But then there's other ones I'm like, I have no idea who that is. So it's phenomenal to see the statistics and the analytics. But yeah, we've got a few people. Certainly, I've got a few people in mind. Now, all mine are green ticks. I've got a list of people. Now, as I say, there's no guarantees that we'll get any of these people actually in the long run, but they are currently happy to talk to us. And we've already mentioned Ryan from the Press Play and Run podcast, and otherwise known as the Scottish Runner. He would be great to get in before or after his Edinburgh Marathon, and it also gives him a little bit of a break from his own podcast to talk about it. But for me, I've also spoken to the Cojones Scotland chaps, Richie and Paul. It would be great to get them on, not only to talk about the charity, but also they're running. They're both runners. They both run marathons and events. It'd be great to learn their stories. But as with everyone, it is predominantly runners. We've got my friend who I met at the weekend at the half marathon, who's heading to Boston in a couple weeks' time, Sarah, who's Sarah_runs. We've got another marathon runner from last weekend, the Rome adventurer, the Happy Diet, who's Kaylee. And then we've got the likes of people we've already mentioned in the past, Lewis Dixon, Emily in the outdoors, and a big supporter of ours, Patrick Watkins. But in addition to that, someone who both I think Steve follows, but I've been following since his early days on Instagram, and now he's got like 25,000 followers, and quite rightfully so. His content is always so varied. He's got running content, but he's got comedy to do with running, and we've mentioned him before, but Omar runs Napa, otherwise his full name, Omar Stanley Posadas. He has agreed that he would love to come on and talk to us, and it would be even better because he's just run his first marathon and absolutely demolished it. So it's some insane time of like 3 hours 15 on his first attempt. So it would be great to get the likes of those folks on. And then from company perspective, I've mentioned them in the podcast before, but I got their name wrong last time. But if you're someone like me who quite often puts holes in the toes of their running shoes just because of the way you run, this company have a product, and they also have one for your heel now as well, for the heel rub. But Trainer Armor, and that is the same as their handle at Trainer Armor, they've agreed to come on and speak to us as well, which would be fantastic because they're a very small company, but their products are phenomenally useful. They're very cheap, and they'll extend the lifespan of your shoes so much. It'd be great to kind of talk about the products and how they've developed them and their running journeys as well.
Yeah, I do follow the Omar Runs Napa, but that was on the back of you talking to me about him, because I hadn't actually seen. So I went and found him, and I was like, "Oh, I've seen you on the Explore page. Yes, I've seen your stuff before." And so I follow him now as well. So no, it's some good content. It's some good people to get on. I have obviously mentioned before about Hannah Runs 93. I want to find out about her running journey. We've got Steve, who does a lot of the pacing with Tracksmith. So that'll be good conversations. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
All Steves are great guys.
But Steve, it's a scientific fact. It's a scientific fact that if your name is Steve, you're automatically a legend. You've not got to do anything.
Yeah, it's just a name.
Just a name. And there are some people that we spoke about that I would like to get on, like lipstick and trainers, or talking all things sort of run through and events and all that sort of stuff. There are some good people we want to get out there, and people that are known to everyone, that people are, oh yeah, I want to listen to their story. I want to listen to what makes them tick and why they do what they do. So it's an exciting direction to take the podcast.
Certainly is. It certainly is. And I think for people like Emma, lipstick and trainers, she's been a massive influence on both of us, and so is someone like Omar. He's been a big influence on me, because I've taken recently, for anyone that doesn't follow me on Instagram, I've recently started doing more real aimed content, putting my face out a little bit more, and body confidence, putting that out the window and just saying, look, I don't mind making a fool of myself. And Omar does a lot of reels, and it's been fantastic to see his journey from when he first started doing reels. He was very shy about it, and now he's got the confidence levels. He's producing some fantastic content, and I've learned a lot from him. And I'm starting to try and develop my reels and add a little bit of comedy and the karaoke that I've learned to kind of get involved with because of people like Kaylee, the Happy Diet, and Emily, in the outdoors. They've been doing run karaoke, and funnily enough, I did one last night, and it's gone down phenomenally well.
I saw that. Oh mate, it tickled me. It was brilliant. It tickled me. I was like, what is going on? I didn't even know what the running karaoke thing was. I was like, why am I see Steve speak just moving about? I was like, okay, it's making sense now.
My hypnotic feet, for anyone that hasn't seen it, head over to my page and have a look. But I have been told my feet are hypnotic. But I have also had another one at the beginning of the week to do with Medal Monday, because I did feel a little bit low last week when I couldn't run. I couldn't get outside. I was feeling a little bit blue. And I thought, well, no, I'm going to do some content and cheer myself up. And that seemed to go down really well, because I don't mind making a fool of myself and acting the Joker.
No, and I've tried myself in the last sort of week and a half to play about with the reels. They've been very basic. They've been basic. More sort of motivational talk over it. So like the Kobe Bryant stuff.
Yeah.
Why do you do this every day? Why? Because I love it. And that weren't just to say freshen up my content. It was more for myself as well, because I look back on these like I do with my picture of my daughter, like a proud father. And I just look at your journey, and it's like, okay, well, I've done that. I was doing that, and I resonate with a lot. Some people don't like them. Let's be real. Some people don't like these motivational stuff. They don't buy into it. They think it's rubbish. But for me, it just ticks so many boxes and so many feelings. It's just, I often just scroll through the reels of one motivational video, and it pops up so many from the algorithm. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like
there's a few that will click with me. I'm the same. They're not all for everyone, and they won't all be for you, but there's some there. And it is with our audiences growing, because the way the podcast's been going, and like we mentioned in the last one, the feedback on every episode has been phenomenal. As we grow as individuals, we also want to give back in our own content, not just on the main social page, because we don't really put that much up on there yet, and we do plan to. But our own content, with our audiences growing, we want to give back, and we want to put a smile on your faces even more, because you're fantastic people. You're all fantastic. You're giving us your time by listening, and we just want to give back. And that kind of leads us into another future element that would have tickled a few people. I certainly got a few messages of, how do I join this? And that is the 99 Club that I kind of under the radar, without Steve's knowledge as well, slipped out there as to kind of get some feelers. Who would like this? And again, the feedback on the whole idea of it has been phenomenal. A lot of, how do I join the 99 Club?
You change your name to Steve.
You change your name to Steve. All the girls have to change their name to Steve.
I'm not discriminate.
There could be Steph. They could be Steph. Sorry, because I'm a PH and you're a V, so they could be Stephs.
You're a step hen.
I'm a step hen. You're spelled the English. I'm spelled the English way, by the way, and you're spelled the Scottish way.
Well, topsy-turvy. How? Was it Michael Scott's is in the Office? Howard turns tables, or something. Gets the whole state.
Yes, Howard turns some tables. Yes.
Yeah, how the turns of tables.
But yeah, we Steve had the thought as well, and he shared this on a voice note to me of having a little group, and the What the Fartlick chaps have got the Fartlick family, the 40 runs have got their 40 crew. Ryan has got a bit of a following. I don't know if he's given a name to the Press Play and Run podcast followers yet, but I thought, well, let's get in there. we're the Point 99 podcast. It only makes sense to be the 99 crew. We might just have 99 people in it. Any more than that, we're more than welcome, but it would be great. It would be great. And we can give back to you guys in a more confined space where for the What the Fartlek crew, for anyone who doesn't know, they've got a WhatsApp group, a couple of WhatsApp groups. And it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. They know that themselves because there's a lot of chats, a lot of messages that can come in. So we're looking at using an app that our good friend Control Alt Delete suggested, and we're using it for the teams for Loch Ness 24 called Halo. And it's an app based, almost like a drop-in forum where you can post images, you can post texts, and just generally somewhere where you can mute it all if you so wished, but you can also be part of a discussion. You can be part of the 99 Club, and it's not just one big chunk of text. There's certain little discussions going on, but we haven't really decided yet. We've got a logo, we've got the idea in mind. So if you've got any thoughts on it, just let us know. Let us know how you would like to be part of the 99 Club and how you would like us to develop the whole idea of it.
Yeah. Again, another one of those things where we're both thinking of it, and it takes you to pop it up and go, "Hey, here's a 99 Club, Steve, by the way." Have a look at that. But no, it's so last year prior to the marathon, there was I popped a post on Insta saying anyone that's doing marathons now, autumn marathons, who wants to be a part of a group chat. And so we made people said, yeah, meet, made a little group. And we was all there for each other, when as the races were coming up, as the training was getting deeper and deeper in there. So this would just be effectively that, but for everyone. But it doesn't have to be a marathon. It could be anything. It can be
anything.
It could be you're working your way back up to 5K, but you're struggling a little bit and you need people to talk to before you give up. So, because a lot of people don't have others to keep them going, and I've certainly found that you need the affirmation of a stranger to say, you're doing a really good job. Carry on. Well done. You've ticked it off. You feel fantastic. So whether you're trying to get back into running, trying to stay in love with running, whatever it is, you want advice. I'll put a caveat in there. We're not coaches, trained coaches. We can only tell how we feel. But the same with we might have a question and people in the group might have the answer. So it's not just about us. It's everyone can help everyone. And as you mentioned it, the current podcasts out there, the 40 runs. I've got a lot for 40. Chris has kindly messaged back when I've messaged him about certain things in the past, and I'm not a 40 runner, so they live and breathe their ethos, and that's what we'll do with the 99 Club. But you do have to change your name, Steve.
You do, unfortunately, have to change your name to Steve, but we'll be looking forward to see all the Steves popping up in our feeds. Yeah, all the Steves and the Stephs, the Steves and the Stephs.
My sister's called Steph. Lazy naming by my parents.
She can join us. But if we do use the Halo app, it is also quite handy because it has an event section, so you can add events to it. If you're planning a run and you just so happen to know that there's people in your area that are part of the group and you want to invite them, or you just want to throw it open to anyone that's part of the 99 Club and you want to say, does anyone fancy going for a run, or I'm going to be running at this event. Let's say it's a run through event. It's anyone else running it. You can see in advance. You can say, I'm going, and you can put it almost like a meeting invite. You can say, I'm going to that meeting, or I'm going to that run. And then, like Steve says, in advance of a marathon, you know who's going, you know who to look out for. On the day, you might not actually feel up to meeting anyone because you're nervous, but it gives you that option to meet other people, go for runnings with other people, and just expand your network. And we are a very, very small corner of the community, but we want to kind of narrow field our community and help them blossom and give tips or ask for tips and just generally be a good place for running community stuff, motivation and positivity.
Absolutely. I'll just, let it grow. And I'm not saying that we'll end up with hundreds and or The Rock would say the millions and millions. But
Yeah.
I feel that this, the smaller the group, the more personal you can be with each other. And it's like, we've been in a group chat where it's just absolute chaos because there's messages. You can't keep up with the messages. But yes, we'd like to get it as big as possible, but we could take advantage of the fact that at first there'll be few and you can really get your points across there. And we're just really welcoming. We just like talking about running. So give us a reason.
Well, that's it. I've just opened my WhatsApp to see. I haven't checked the what the Fartlick family chat in a couple of hours, but there's only 37 messages waiting for me. Sometimes I'll open it and there's 400 messages, and it's if you don't have the confidence, that could be overwhelming. So yeah, keep an eye on socials. We'll make a determination. As we say, let us know how you would like us, because at the end of the day, we're only able to continue growing through your investment of time in us as well. So let us know. We're all ears, and our socials are always open. Our inboxes are always there.
Always there. I've had conversations with other people on Instagram when if I can't sleep at night and they've messaged, I'll reply. Sometimes like 11:30, midnight, whatever. I get up for work at 3:30. I might see a message. I'll just ping it off to him straight away. So yeah, it's always there. My daughter's demanding lights. She's give me lights. Right. Oh, dearie me. Sorry, lads.
So moving on, because again, same as last week and the week before, we didn't really have something in mind for us. We wanted to talk about the future, and as always, we wanted to also thank you all for the time you're investing in us. But for the next podcast, we're not ending just quite yet, but it would be quite nice, and we'll see what we can do. But with Boston very, very close around the corner, we would quite like to be able to speak to some of our Boston running friends in advance of their journeys. It might not be possible, but hopefully for the next podcast, we might be able to convince both or either Sarah and Hannah to come on and speak to us about how they're feeling going into Boston. Because as Hannah announced on her socials, and for anyone who doesn't follow her, following up on her Tokyo Marathon adventure, she is now heading out to Boston as well.
Yes, for star number 5, which should line her up for star number 6 later in the year. I was quite humbled by the fact that she shared her secret with me, that she's not announced it, no one knows, but she's going to Boston. I was like, you've told me your secret. It sounds so simple, but someone that you don't know has trusted you with what is to them is a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it is.
A pretty big thing. And listen, touching on the Boston thing, I had a fleeting thought the other day. I was looking at the good for age, and it was like, I think it's like 3:05, and I was like, well, my predictor's 3:23, so how much extra can I put through these legs? And I thought, no, I'm not going to go Boston anyway. What's the point in trying to kill myself?
Well, that's the good for age is always gonna that's knocking your pan in a lot of cases. You can get in through other means, and it's so nice to see a lot of our followers and people we follow heading over to Boston. So all going well, we'll be able to get one, both, or maybe none on the show before they head over, but we'll certainly have them on afterwards and we'll share their stories. Otherwise, I'm not sure what we're going to do in the next episode. We'll make a decision early this time, though. We'll have a plan of action. But we kind of did want to just talk about the future of the podcast and what you would like to see. So we are getting very close now to the end of the episode. So it's about time to do our community shout outs. So I don't know, Steve, do you want to go first? Because I've been talking a lot this time to save your throat, but at the same time, it's just a lot of my voice.
I'm just trying to think who I've actually already shouted out. So I'm just going to, off the whim. Do you know what? Actually, there's one. I'm going to get the Instagram name right. I think she follows me through the the podcast and yourself, Peter.
Yes. Peter.
Peter.
Yeah, because
Peter.
yeah,
You got told off.
It's not Peter. I got told off, and she was going to beat me up with a baguette because she was at the Inverness Half Marathon. She did see me at a distance. Unfortunately, because I wasn't feeling well, we didn't get to meet face to face. But I didn't want to also give her anything like the COVID. But yes, she's since removed the threat of a baguette beating.
Fantastic. No, so I was at work the other day. Writing up security risk assessments because that's glamorous. So I was like pulling teeth out with some of these people. Before I go on to a work rant, I'm going to come back into the podcast. So it popped up an email. You've got someone's donated to your page, and it tells you what the amount is in the actual body of the email, but it doesn't say who. You've got to click to see if they've left you a message. And it was Peter. And she donated £30. I was like, that is incredibly generous. So I messaged her saying, "You're the only person I know with this name. That's amazing." And she's like, "Oh no, you're more than welcome. You great calls, great this." And it's just, I didn't expect that to make sense. I've had a few interactions that you've got this, you'll smash the run. The podcast is really good, but she's actually gone out of her way to. It's always humbling, even if someone donates £1, it's £1 of their money. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like, that is super humbling. I know it's the charity, everyone is, but you get that support from the person because they're supporting you. They could have just gone online and just donated that money to that charity directly, not through you. So that's been great. There's a chap who's always in my DMs. Every story he comments on, even to one where I posted a picture of, it was just my Pegasus trainers. I'm in a gym doing the thing. And he's like, "Dude, no, don't train your nose. There's not enough cushion if you're doing heavy compound lifts." And he was looking out for me so I don't get myself injured. Now, obviously, I knew that, but he didn't know that I knew that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm going to spell his name out because his name's Rory Lamb. Rory Lamb.
Yes. Now, Rory, yes, I know who you're talking about. Yes.
ROIBI is his tag on Instagram, and he's always in my DMs, and it's fantastic because you've got this, and we even have dad chat. We have dad chat as well, so it's not just talking about running. There's something else there. I know we are running. It's what we do. And then I've got two more. If you'll be so kind.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chap called Robert Wright, and his Instagram is B_the_tortoise, and his actual thing. And again, he called me off guard because he sent a message to me. Basically, he said, "Hey, dude, listen to your first podcast last night. He's been out injured for 18 months after training hard for his first marathon, and he's got a dream to be an ultra." And then the latter start of it says, "You've been a huge inspiration and your positivity is consuming. Just want to let you know that I'll start my 5K plan after my final consultation tomorrow." And that just took me back for a minute. I was like, I've had people say it before, it's inspiration, but every time someone says it, I get the same feeling. I was like,
you're having me on here. That's what you have.
Are you pulling my leg because I'm just this sarky cockney that just runs and doesn't shut up about running and often has got a foul mouth, and I'm very proud you've got this far into a podcast series and I've not sworn once. Wait, actually, I slipped up once, didn't I? I think I might have got edited out.
It got edited out, but you did slip up very, very briefly.
Very briefly, I did slip up, and so that was really good. And there is one, and her name is Kat the Runner. Now, Kat has got an awful lot of followers, and she probably doesn't need this shout out, but she does so much for. She's a runner, but she's also an activist. Now, yes. I personally don't like getting too involved in political stuff, so I like to keep my running count running, and that was what I was done in the beginning. But as I see now, more and more people are actually seeing my stuff more than I ever thought I would. Sometimes I feel like I've got a moral obligation to call something out, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
she does that, and she takes no prisoners. Like, I'll put it out there, she takes no prisoners at all. But again, a great person to talk to. She broke, I believe, she broke her ankle ice skating in sort of December time, and it took her out for a long time. And now she's up to the point where I think she's going to Boston.
Fantastic.
She's fully fit, worked her way up. I said, "You're an inspiration." She went, "I won't go that far." I went, "No, but you've literally broke your ankle, rehabbed it, got yourself mentally back into a place, and now you're going to Boston fit.
Yeah.
That's no mean feat. You've got to be, I don't know if you know Cat Williams, the comedian, but you've got to be in tune with your star player, your mind. You have to be in tune with that all the time for you to even achieve it when you haven't broken your ankle. Do you know what I mean? It's like, the body is an amazing thing. Just let your mind convince the body you can do it, and it will do it.
Certainly, your mind restricts your body so much, and I don't follow Kat at the moment. It's not for any reason. I will be following her by the time we finish this recording. But to have to, when you see people who overcome injuries like a broken ankle and go on to then be heading out to places like Boston, it is inspirational.
Is it Boston or Chicago? I can't remember now.
One of the two.
It might be one of the two. I'm going to look whilst we're on this in case I got it wrong. I'll throw the community shouts to you, and I'll come back to that one.
So for me, having thrown it over, I had two, but I'm going to make it three because you've gone for four, and I do want it. There is someone that I think I've shouted him out before briefly, but I would like to shout him out a bit more because he is so consistent in my DMs of giving great feedback, and he's friend of a friend of a friend, and he is. Everyone says he's such a nice guy, and he is phenomenally nice in my DMs, and it's been fantastic to speak to him. And that's a chap called Chris Evans. Not the DJ, not the actor, although he might be. And it's his handle is chris.runs.a.lap. All the people with the dots, I seem to have them. Their names are really long. But Chris has been phenomenal, as I say, in my DMs, and just the responses, not just to my reels, but to my posts as well. It's just like we've known each other for a very, very long time. And hopefully I'll get to meet him before the Loch Ness 24, but he will be up taking part as well. So I'll get the opportunity to have a few drinks with him and get the banter. But hopefully I'll be in their neck of the woods at some point between now and August, because I am getting the team for Loch Ness have been meeting up. They're all relatively in the same sort of area, and they've been meeting up, and I'm feeling a little bit left out here. But that's because I'm so far away and they're all close to each other. So hopefully I'll get down and see not only my team, but people like Chris as well. That, like I say, they're so enthusiastic about my content and letting me know that they're enjoying it, which is phenomenally nice, and I really do appreciate it. The second one for me, and the second and the third one actually, are very, very similar, and I've had really good feedback and conversation with one of the people, although they're fairly new to me, whereas the other one, she is part of the team. She is part of the Loch Ness 24 team, and that would be Emily. And her handle is Emily_in_the_outdoors. And I've mentioned Emily a couple of times. Her content is really, really inspirational. She does a lot of wild swimming. She actually, oddly enough, knows someone that I've known for a very long time because of the wild swimming and alike. And she meets up with her quite often. And it was, when I saw the photo of them together, it was so nice. It's one of those small world situations of how does that person know that person? But Emily's content, she doesn't airbrush it. It's not superficial. She tells you as it is. If she's having a high day, she's having a high day. If she's having a low day, she doesn't hide it. And that's the sort of content that we like to see. Instagram can more often than not be superficial. It could be airbrushed. It's everyone's having a good time all the time, and it can make people feel. And I've had it in the past. I'm sure Steve has too. It can have a detrimental effect on people's mental states, and it's so nice to see that someone is being real with their content and they are real people. It's not just all sunshine and roses. There are the darker days as well. Um, but then that also brings me to another person that is he's newer to me, and his name's Al, and his handle is at person underscore Al underscore best, so personal best. And much like Emily, Al's content is very real. He is phenomenal. His reels are funny, but they're also natural. He's just a great guy to follow. And I've spoken to him a couple of times in his DMs because he has got his difficulties with anxiety and with depression, and he'll tell you his content. He's honest about it. And I have reached out to him and said, "Look, dude, my DMs are always open. If you're having an issue on a particular day, and it could be a motivational issue as well, drop in my DMs. I'll give you the kick up the backside that you need on a particular day, or I'll be there to back you up in your corner and be your hype man to help you." But he is great. His content is fantastic. I know a few people that follow him, and they all agree. But the last few days, he has had a few darker days, and I just want to shout him out and say, I love his content. I think it's fantastic, and he seems like such a nice guy. And it's unfortunate though. Like I say, you never know what someone's going through, because a lot of the time it is superficial and airbrushed. And he had applied for influencer ambassador role with a company, and he never made it. And having myself and Steve have both been in that situation before. We have applied to become ambassadors, and we haven't been successful. But it's how you take it. And it can sometimes be a little bit jarring when you see who some of the ambassadors are. And this is going to sound very sexist, and it's not meant to be that at all. But it can sometimes seem like the ambassador roles are just for pretty girls, pretty fit girls. And for someone like Al, who has his darker days, and when you get a rejection letter, it can have a real detrimental effect on you. And I think a lot of companies need to kind of consider the way that they reject you, and letting you down a little bit nicer than some of them do. Because I don't know how you're feeling about it, Steve, but some of the rejections I've had, they're just so and I guess it is just a ripping the Band-Aid off, but it can be quite close to the bone.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple before. I applied to be an Adidas runner, and it was just like, thanks, but you're not being successful. And it was like, there was nothing else in there. I mean, I know the big companies, but that they should have, even if it's just a template, a nicer template.
Yes.
We look forward to trying again next year. Maybe have more luck then. That
like the London Marathon. How when you're not successful in the ballot, they have a nicer email that comes out to you to say, try again next year. And for a lot of people, you're never going to get in, but you don't feel so bad. It's not such a hit to the chest. Whereas some of the ambassadors, and like I say, these people are real people. Whereas sometimes you find, and I understand why the pretty people, and it's not just pretty young girls, are. That sounds really bad when I said that. It can be the fit guys as well, the ones with the xylophone six packs. These are the people that sell products for these companies. I get that, and that's what they want. But it's nice to have the real people built in. So when you're scrolling through the content, you see someone real, and you think, I might buy that product because that's a real person. That person, and I'm not saying, again, it sounds really bad. I'm digging myself a hole here that I'm saying that other people aren't pretty people. That's not what I'm saying. It is just a case of there should be opportunities for everyone without it being, if you don't look a certain way, or if you don't have a certain amount of followers, it should be more open to everyone. And I get that a lot of companies have, and I know the companies you've gone for as well, Steve. So I know I can talk a bit more of knowledge here. They ask you for your backstory. They ask you for your story, and you share your story. And we both have stories. And mine's was a little bit harder to share for a long time, because of what I was going through. But it seems to fall on deaf ears sometimes. Whereas other messages, and you find out sometimes how the ambassador get in, and it's a case of, I'm more than just a pretty face. Oh, you are more than just a pretty face, but then you've got other people, and I think Brooks are very good at showing this. Where you've got now, I can't think of his name, but I know he's diabetic runner, the Irish chap, and it's him overcoming his diabetes and how he deals with that with running, and it's so nice to see that there's someone who's going through something there. And you've also got, again, I don't remember his name, but he's a mental health runner, and to see that they are taking on people that are, they're still good looking people, as don't get me wrong, but they are living real lives and they're dealing with real things, whereas some companies don't do that. And hopefully, Al, if you're listening, there are always going to be opportunities, and it is a bit of a hit we're not always going to be successful. And I think everyone knows. I think he knows that too. But if you see his content, it is so nice. It's so refreshing. And the same with Emily's. They are real people. They tell you when they're having good days. They tell you when they're having bad days. Much the same as myself and Steve will tell you. We are real at the end of the day. And that's what we're trying to get out there.
I've had some right shockers thinking, how am I going to come back from this one?
Yeah.
But you'll always come back. And, I was having a conversation with someone at work the other day. And they said, as long as you wake up the next morning, you're already winning. So it doesn't matter what doesn't matter what company says to you. Doesn't matter what happens. As long as you go to bed and you wake up the next day, it's a new day. It doesn't matter whether this company said no because you don't fit their image. There are companies, as we mentioned, companies like Brooks that have a community base within it. You look at their people who and I did apply from one time and I didn't get in. It is what it is. I don't have no issue about that. It's their choice. They again, but their email was very happy, very polite, very encouraging. It's delivering bad news in a very good way because there is a social.
And companies they do have a lot of people applying to them. So we're not super bashing companies here either. We're not bashing anyone that's ambassadors. We're not, and
not at all.
I think the way I've said it. Oh, certainly, but the way I've said it is probably sounds like I'm being a bit salty, but I'm not. I'm not being sexist, and I'm not. It's not just pretty girls. It's not just pretty. It's also pretty guys. But you know what I mean. It is what it is, and you've just got to live with it. And the opportunities may be around the corner if you continue to pump out the great content. And you work at it. You will have people take notice of you. The right people will take notice, and you will get there eventually.
Absolutely. It's a very just keep on and don't try and force.
Yeah, don't force it.
Content is just it'd be natural. If you hear a sound you like that's trending and you think you can work to it for what you normally do, save it, come back to it later. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you'll always have that core of supporters that I have the same faces that like every single picture, every single post. They'll like it, they'll comment. I get a message, how's your day going? Have you had are you having a better day? It's like I posted, I don't know if anyone saw it, it's a bit of a work annoyance because someone sent me an email and on the email it said regards, but all the vowels have been taken out. And I was raging, and I left my reply for at least 3 hours.
Honestly, I annoyed one of my previous colleagues, so much because I took all the vowels out of my name, so I was just STV, and it annoyed him so much. And I had to go back.
It triggered me, and then Laura sent me a DM a couple of days ago saying, "Just got this email. Does it trigger you?" And it just says KR. That's right, kind regards, please, people. But no, seriously, it's just just keep it nice, keep it to who you are, because people will see that you stay true to yourself.
Yeah,
And
and I
you've not.
think for these people, for the people I've personally mentioned, both personal best and Emily Nedors, they don't focus on numbers. To my knowledge, they don't focus on numbers, and their content is it's refreshing. It's them. It's not forced. And I think more for Al, it's living in a time where there is more emphasis on depression and anxiety, but it's worth sharing it. But I think that's what I just want to touch on, because I know we got a rejection through the week, and yeah, we all get rejected from times, but you've got to it's how you overcome it, and just keep being the natural, fun, honest, creative type that you are, and they will come to you. That's all you've got to do.
Yep, be true to yourself. The rest follows. If it does, does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You've not tried to make yourself something you're not.
Yeah. And it sounded like we were going a bit downhill there, but hopefully that's brightened it up again on the way back out. But like we mentioned, or like I mentioned, to try and save Steve's voice, hopefully the next episode we will have one or two lovely ladies to talk to ahead of their Boston Marathon adventure. But between now and then, the clocks are going to change this coming weekend if you are listening to the podcast when it comes out. A little bit disappointing that you'll have 1 hour less in bed, but you'll have 1 hour of glorious, lovely sunshine at night to get out and enjoy your runs, which is always going to be a positive, and you'll get used to that hour less of bed. You will, although it might be hard for the first week.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We've done this for years, Steve.
They really need to stop changing the clocks now. No, it doesn't help anyone. But yeah, I think it's been quite a good little discussion today. It's been a little bit variable as our podcast.
Well, the feedback says people love it. So good. Yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
Long may that continue. But yeah, like I say, hopefully we'll have a few guests in next episode. I was going to say next week. No, Laura, we're not doing a weekly next time round. But yeah, no, the feedback has been phenomenal. Please keep getting in touch. We have plenty of hours in our day to speak to you. We might not respond straight away, but we do love hearing from you. We do actually love the feedback as well. It gives us such a boost every day, hearing that our little podcast is helping other people. But I think unless Steve got anything to add to that.
No, I will say thanks to everyone for the support on the raffle, which
don't mention the raffle. You know why. You know why.
My co-host of the raffle is currently looking at me throwing a strop because she wants to know who's on the phone this time. So yeah, it's really good. Oh, so she's here now, mate.
I can't even blame the additional co-host for the prize that I won.
You got the female best athletics kit.
I did get the female best athletics kit, and I'm going to look phenomenally gorgeous in it.
And you will, and that sounds like another. Just pop a wig on, and you can have another karaoke in best athletics gear. That'd be fantastic.
Well, I mean, to mention the next karaoke, it's meant to be a song, but somebody might know by a band called Wolf Mother, and the song's called "Woman." So it's almost like Steve planned it.
No, I did not plan it. It was random people. No, I'm joking. I've never even heard of that, so that'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah. But
just thanks for the feedback, everyone. The DMs, the messages, the support. It's been fantastic. It's just crazy that my sounds, your sounds, is that the sounds of people's long runs or washing up or driving in the car because they're going to somewhere else.
Or dropping kids off at classes, or yeah,
I thought you
exactly.
were going to say something else there.
Not at the pool, not at the pool.
I thought you were going to say something else. Like, listen, you do what you do when you're listening. Just make sure you're listening, because that was you was half a sentence away from one of my favourite sayings. So we'll just reel it back in a little bit there.
We'll reel it back in and just reinforce. Let us know what you're thinking about the 99 Club. We will evolve this idea around you guys, and we will love every moment of it. And we will look forward to getting more time to get connected with the community and build something great that everyone wants to be part of. So until the next podcast, until we can hopefully speak to Sarah, or what's her name? I've forgotten. Please, Steve, help me now. Hannah. Hannah. Yeah. So until next time, if we're speaking to Sarah, or we're speaking to Hannah, or we're speaking to both of them, hopefully we will be. We hope that your runs are enjoyable. We hope that you'll continue to get involved, give us feedback, but most importantly, we hope that you will stay motivated, you will stay positive, and you will stay sharing your good vibes.
Yes, absolutely. And we've mentioned it many times, but if you are struggling with not only motivation but the discipline to get out and get the run done, you can message on the main account, you can message on mine, you can message on Steve's. We will get back to you, and it's just a support. So if you need it, it's there. So you're never on your own. So yeah, just give us a shout, and we're happy. You're giving us an excuse to talk about running and life. So take advantage of it. I'll happily message back.
We look forward to hearing from all the Steves and Steps. But until next time, take care, and we'll hear from the Steves and the Steps soon.
See ya.
Bye bye.